Alright, welcome back to Terry Thornberry Performance. On this episode, we are just taking apart the 5Ms, both of them. We just got the gasket kits. We just got the head gaskets, all the plenum, exhaust, valve cover, cam seals, spark plugs, oil pan, timing belt, and the tensioner. And we will just be taking apart. This is the one that was out of the car. We'll be taking apart this, seeing what we can use. It'll probably just be the head, and then on this motor going, and then seeing what's usable on this. Before we take all the cams and seals off, we're going to be what's called TDC, top dead center, making sure that this crank is on compression stroke and that these cams are all nice and shut, and then we'll go from there. So there's no dulling or pitting is what you want to see. There's no discoloration, so there's not a lot of heat getting to the cam lobes. So still nice and cool. Houston, we have found TDC.
Oh,
for the exhaust mark, we have right there the tick. For the intake mark, I know it's blurry, sorry guys, there's another tick. And then for the crank pulleys, you can see it's on 0. So we'll keep everything the same. Now take the timing belt off, the tensioner, and then remove the head, and then go from there. So just dealing with the 5M, we're down to now taking the timing belt off. It's simple. I'm just removing the spring, and then the tensioner bolt, and then the tensioner will now detension, and then the belt now you're able to remove it. So
first you gotta loosen up the bolt.
So,
once it's loose, you can literally just bring it up.
and now your timing belt is loose. Head is off. It's tight in the cylinder walls, so the rings are still good as far as on the pistons we can tell. But like I said, the cylinder walls, might just have to go for a roadkill. But some of them are still crosshatch. Just some of the cylinders have been sitting for longer than others.
With water in them.
So we'll spin it over. We'll see what it does. The head is off, and that's the block that he just bought. He'll be cleaning that one up, and then I'll be tearing down this one, and then going from there. So it's funny. Sometimes motors, you gotta tell them when they're done. Sometimes the motors tell you when they're done. That's literally a connecting rod hanging off this in the block. That's the hole right there. My fingers are touching. So, yep, as we take the head off, we'll look further into that. So, the customer's original motor, the head is off. As you can see, gacked the piston, and then a nice hole right through it. Let's see if I can get the connecting rod for you guys. There's a connecting rod. There's all the debris. It looks like bent the connecting rod stud, bolt, everything. There's a better picture. So this block is not usable anymore, so we'll be using that bottle that's being cleaned, and then most likely slapping that head on. So just doing a rebuild on the customer's motor that he gave us. It's the original one. Okay, game plan. This one's all nice and clean.
Bye there, boy. Make sure all them surfaces are clean. Yeah.
This one's messed up. As we already know, it tried to escape Alcatraz style.
It said knock knock. Who's there?
This head is gonna need a new valve. This head's fine, so we're probably gonna go with this head, new gasket, clean everything up, take all this stuff, put it on here, put that head, put it on there, get it all going, time it, boom, boom.
Make sure everything's clean, ready to rock. Bah!
We're ready to rock!
Yeah!
So this is the head we're going with. We know there's a lot of rust in the water jackets.
That's why you don't run water.
No
Use coolant.
water. So what we'll do is when the motor's running and it's nice and hot, we'll constantly keep flushing it to get all this rust out. But as far as all the valves, the walls, we'll just clean these all up and we good to go. As far as on this one, you can see he already blew a head gasket and he had repair sealant on it. That's what all this white stuff is. And then the valve didn't give a crap that it broke the connecting rod, but I'm pretty sure this is probably a little bit bent. But we will not be using this head. We'll take the headers off and then the top plenum, and we'll put it all on this motor. So this is the new. This is all cleaned up. And then we'll just be slapping it on the block. Block's all nice and cleaned up. Tay did a good job. There's a new gasket kit, the whole new valve. All the gaskets we'll just slap on the head. Alright, head's all torqued down. Did a 3-step torquing process down to 58 foot-pounds of torque. Now we'll just start assembling up the front of the face, the plenum and the intake, the plenum and the exhaust, and get it all situated. We still need to look for an oil pan, so once we find that, then we'll see how it all goes. It's a brand new day at Terry Thornberry Performance. So we were just doing the cam seals, getting those all switched out. They're just putting the front plate on, doing all the timing, getting all the plenum and the exhaust all situated. But there's not really much more we can go because as far we are still missing the oil pan. So once we get that all situated, we'll go forward. But as far as putting the timing belt on, we can spin the motor and make sure the timing's all correct, no valve smack. Way easier spinning the motor by hand and checking if everything still spins than putting the motor, having the starter crank it, and you are off timing, and then bye-bye all your valves and your pistons. Timing's all back on, timing belt, tensioner. Once you're all in, just double check that all your marks are hitting everywhere, top dead center, and then you'll be good to go. And once it's all done, spin it just to make sure no valves hit. Working on the plenum side now, getting all the surfaces nice and cleaned from both the block and the runners and the plenum. So getting them just all nice and surface ready, as well as the exhaust, so we can put the manifold on and then start getting everything all back together slowly. Quick little update, all the plenum's off. We take the throttle body off because all the 5M, 7M, 1J, 2J, the wiring harness runs in between here all the way around for the engine harness. So we removed the throttle body and then we were able to remove all the harnesses. All the gaskets are on. For gaskets, we make sure to go from the middle outwards, so all the gaskets spread out. So like I said, runners are on, plenum's on, exhaust manifold's on, getting the alternator on, power steering. And then we just need to get a new water pump because it was leaking out of the weep hole. And like I said, just the oil pan. Other than that, it spins. She's good to go. Or more like we say, good to blow. So we got some good news. We found the oil pan. We got the gasket all mated, all surfaced with just the OEM cork gasket. Like I said, we got the top plenum on. We got the water pump on, all that stuff. We're just waiting for the belt, which the customer has. We'll put on the power steering pulley. Other than that, we got everything cleaned up as best as we could. It could be a little bit better, but as far as what the customer wanted, this is what we were able to pull off. So when we get back to the car to put it in, we'll just be putting the throttle body on, all the injectors, all the wiring clips, the spark plug wires, and then when the motor's off the cherry picker, we'll be putting on the clutch, flywheel, and pressure plate setup. And then we're just waiting on the customer for us to drop this motor in. But stay tuned for putting this motor in the car. We'll be having that video out shortly.